My name's Andy Stanford-Clark. I live on the island, but I work on the mainland for IBM, where I'm a master inventor. Being a master inventor at IBM involves, first of all, inventing things. I've got lots of patents, got 42 patents to my name, but also it helps helping other people find the innovation, the creativity in their work. It can be quite hard for small and medium-sized businesses to encourage creativity because there's a lot more sort of focus on the day job and a lot less sort of flexibility. But what we can do is look for novel solutions to problems, and we all face problems, we stumble across problems all the time. And you can either sort of throw your hands up and say, oh, that's really hard, I don't know how to solve that, or you can set aside time to think about it and maybe kick around some ideas, brainstorm ideas, and come up with some cool solutions.
So what gave you the idea to introduce sensors to your home?
Well, I've always been a keen electronics hobbyist, and the work I do at IBM is to do with linking little sensors up to computer systems. So I wanted to try that out sort of on a test bed. So I built quite a sophisticated home automation system that could control from the web or from my smartphone. I can turn things on and off from the phone. But then Twitter came along, or I discovered Twitter. It's probably about 2.5 years ago now. And I suddenly realised that Twitter was a great platform for distributing messages, both as a linear log on the web, like a blog, and also through the notifications that can come as text to your phone. So rather than me having to build those things separately, a web page of events and a way of sending me text, Twitter does that for me for free. So I use Twitter as a platform.
How many sensors do you have around the house?
Well, there aren't actually physically that many sensors because I haven't sort of put one in every single window. I just do it on a few windows just to try out the idea. But there are lots of different types of sensors. So there's things for measuring electricity, water, whether the windows and doors are open, movement in the house, temperature, humidity. There's one quite weird one that I've got a rowing machine to do exercise on, and I've wired that up as well so that it measures both my heart rate and also the movement of the rowing machine backwards and forwards. And the idea is to make a map of the island, and then as I'm exercising I can be rowing around the island, and it'll show me my progress around the island as I go. One of the cool gadgets I've just invented actually is this is a cool money box from a gadget shop I got in Southampton, and you put coins in the top and it goes from empty to full as you save your money. But I've taken the insides out and replaced it with some electronics, so this now moves backwards and forwards. And it's linked up to my computer, which is linked up to my oil tank outside, so it shows the level of the oil tank. So as it goes down, I know when to reorder the oil. So I'm quite into ambient devices. So this is devices that, rather than being a graph or a number that you have to really pay attention to, it sort of subconsciously tells you pieces of information. And this is and it's called an orb, and it glows different colours. So it can glow red or green or blue or whatever. And I use this to show me how much electricity the house is using. So when it's green, we're not using very much, we're being environmentally friendly. And when it's amber or red and flashing, then we know that we're using lots and lots of electricity, and we can go around the house and find things to turn off, which has saved us lots of money over the last few years. So I'm very keen on monitoring how much power the house is using, because obviously there are great savings to be made both financially and from an environmental point of view. So I've got a monitor that clips onto the wire near the electricity meter, and that sends the data to a base station of the display, and that then displays how much energy we're using. I can plug that into my computer and then display that as a graph on the internet, or send the information to the orb, or send a message to my phone, or indeed to Twitter. So for example, when we've used £5 worth of electricity in a month, it says £5 worth used, £10, 15, so every £5 it tells me. And if we're using an unusually high amount of electricity at some odd time in the day, like say 3 o'clock in the morning, something large electrical turns on, it'll send a tweet out to say unusually high power usage. So that might then, not at 3 in the morning obviously, but if it was in the middle of the day, that might alert me to something that I'd left on, and I could then go and turn it off, which of course saves energy. My ideas are always inspired by real world problems, so I don't just sit around thinking of cool technology and then going, what should I do with this? It's always that I see a problem to be solved, and then I think about it for a while and come up with a solution. And I'm always keen to build a prototype, so I like to sort of try out the ideas, because sometimes it turns out that solution wasn't a particularly good one. Other times you have to sort of twist the answer around a bit till it actually works. Then I've got this thing that actually solves the problem, and I can then turn that into a product or show it to other people, or put it into my house, or whatever it is I want to do with it. The island is a great place for stimulating creativity. It's a very sort of odd sort of eclectic mix of the environment, the fact that you come here on a boat. There's a very interesting sort of demographic of ages and skills and backgrounds. People who've been here a long time, people who've moved to the island for various reasons. The mix of industries, sort of ancient and modern, and the way those are evolving. I think it is a real stimulant for creative ideas. We've always wanted a sort of rural environment to live in, and I find that much more conducive to creativity than a busy city environment, which always on the go, where you can sort of stop and think and take your time to think through problems. So partly it was that, but mainly it's because we love the rural setting, and nice long walks along the beach and up on the downs gives you a nice sort of time to the key thing is to give yourself time to think. People don't seem to be prepared to do that. They want to rush and do the first thing that comes into their head. But if you stop and think things through, I guess you shouldn't be too surprised by this, but ideas come to you, and then you can then think them through further and build them up into a solution to a problem.